America, land of the free, the pinnacle of Western civilization, everything that democracy could be. Until it wasn't. Has the world really been unraveling over the last 4 years? Or are we all just getting a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and a little bit less in love with America? I've got no idea. What I do know is that in the last 4 years, Trump has managed to undo decades of foreign policy. How much damage has one man really been able to do? And what does America need to fix it? Let's wind back the clock. American diplomacy has provided the building blocks for how our global system is set up today. They pretty much set up and funded the United Nations, and they've created the most extensive set of global military alliances that the world has ever seen. Yet, in one presidential cycle, Trump has managed to completely root this system and plunged America into levels of depravity not particularly befitting of a global hegemon. Let's have a look at 3 of the most significant ways how. When it comes to things that humans don't like, a couple will come to mind. Raging bushfires that block out the sun, droughts that devastate our food supply, floods and cyclones that level cities, mass migration that will completely overrun our current immigration systems, and not being able to leave a beer out in the sun for 2 minutes without being able to cook an egg on it are all pretty up there. So when the world leaders came together in Paris in 2015 to find a solution to these minor inconveniences, the people breathed a collective sigh of relief. Maybe the people at the top, the very smart people who we have elected to lead us, could find a solution. Paris wouldn't be that, but it would provide the building blocks from which we could work from. And all of a sudden, the US, a leader both in terms of negotiations and emissions per capita, withdraws. The world can't afford any more hiccups in terms of solving climate change. Donald Trump has been the biggest hiccup, and the world cannot cop another 4 years of treating the world's biggest economy like a business. The difference between Biden and Trump's camps is night and day. Biden has pledged a decisive move away from fracking and coal mines, and Kamala Harris has stated that she wants to make climate change the center of American foreign policy. A very important consideration considering China is posturing towards doing the same. For us in Australia, climate change will induce a pretty slow death. So if you prefer to go out with a bang, don't worry, the Don still has you sorted. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the Iran nuclear deal, was a big win for the Obama administration. Cormac and I have a general rule. Any nation with a head of state called a supreme leader should be automatically disqualified from the weapons of mass destruction application process. The Iran nuclear deal was our chance to do that. For Trump, there still wasn't enough of a positive outcome to outweigh one simple fact. The deal, although orchestrated by John Kerry, was an Obama deal. Trump has tried to completely destroy Obama's legacy solely for his own political gain, and usually at the cost of America. He has done a terrifyingly good job. Pulling out of the JCPOA, he opted instead for a strategy of maximum economic pressure to make Iran give up their hunt for a nuclear weapon. Apart from starving innocent Iranians, it hasn't worked, and Iran is now closer than ever to acquiring a WMD. Simply put, we may never get a second chance at denuclearizing Iran. Finally, Obama's masterpiece, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It was the centerpiece of Obama's pivot to Asia, and if America had remained involved, it would have been the most extensive free trade agreement in the history of the world. Bada bing, bada boom, Trump pulls America out and knocks the agreement out cold. And when it comes back to consciousness, guess who's waiting to nurse it back to health? Your boy Xi. The world now looks to America not as the saving grace of the West, but as a warped and twisted creature born from the depravity of corporate greed and nationalist populism. Donald J. Trump was a pretty funny joke to us in Australia at first, but there's no denying the frankly impressive trail of destruction he's managed to leave in his wake. His presidency will leave open and deep wounds for many years to come. He has stalled us, all of us, on the most pressing issues that have ever faced humanity. 4 years under Trump has completely reshaped the global system. Another 4 years would break it. It's easy not to give a shit about politics, but this, however, is the most important election of our lifetime. While half America might not think so, we certainly hope that the rest of the world is praying that this buffhead will leave us all alone.